Hey guys, Shubh here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the top 5 hottest EV stocks to invest in now. Just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a licensed advisor. With that being said, let's get right to it. So number 1 on our list, and this one's going to be a no-brainer, Tesla. Tesla is an electric vehicle and clean energy company based out of Palo Alto, and they were founded about 17 years ago. So let's start with looking at Tesla's stock chart a little bit. So as you can see, in the past 1 year, Tesla's stock has been up 231%, not bad at all. And since the recent decline, it is down about 30% from its peak. So you guys are very familiar with Tesla, but some of their main products are the Tesla Model S, Tesla Model 3, Tesla Model X, the Y, and then they've got some clean energy products such as the solar panels and then also energy storage, which is called the Tesla Powerwall. So let's look at Tesla's production history a little bit, and this will kind of give you guys an idea of why I really like the stock. So as you can see, in 2016, they made about 25,000 vehicles. The next year, 101,000. And then 2018, they jumped to 254,000. 365,000 in 2019, and in the most recent year, in 2020, they made 509,000 vehicles, over 500,000. So as you can see from this chart, their year-over-year sales and delivery growth is absolutely phenomenal. That's why I really believe in Tesla. I think that their production capacity increases and sales increases year over year are absolutely phenomenal. And then here's another chart. If you guys can see from here, just phenomenal growth year over year, like under 25,000 in 2013, 2014, 2015, and then they just kind of ramped up like crazy, and it's right at about 180,000 in the most recent quarter. Now let's look at Tesla's most recent earnings release. So if you guys can see here, they reported some really strong earnings in Q1, and they reported revenues of about 10.4 billion. And then if you look at the trend here, in looking at the past 4 quarters before that, they went from 6 billion in Q1 and 2 of 2020 to 8.8 billion in Q3, 10.7 billion in the last quarter of 2020, and then like we said, 10.4 billion in Q1. So a little bit lower than Q4 2020, but overall, their sales growth and revenue trend is absolutely phenomenal. And then they have some production numbers here, so let's look at that. In Q1 of 21, Tesla didn't produce any Model S and X, but if you look at their overall production numbers in the 4 quarters of 2020, it looks like they went from about 100,000, then they dipped a little bit to 82,000, and then jumped back up to 145,000, then 180 in the last quarter of 2020, and then 180,000 in this most recent quarter. So super impressive production numbers. Enough with numbers, let's look at some pictures. So in their Q1 release, Tesla provided us some progress pictures with some of their new factories opening up. So here we're looking at their new Gigafactory in Berlin for the Model Y production. Just absolutely beautiful. And then another Gigafactory in Tesla also for the Model Y. Absolutely beautiful. And looks like another picture of their Texas Gigafactory. Looks like they're making really good progress. Let's move on to some of Tesla's most anticipated items in 2021. So you guys might have heard of the Tesla Cybertruck. Has an interesting design, so let's look at a clip here. A lot of mixed opinions about this design, but I like it. I think it looks pretty interesting. With that being said, I really like this company. I personally have a big position in Tesla. So number 2 on our list is NIO. NIO is an electric vehicle manufacturer headquartered in Shanghai, China. Let's start by looking at their stock chart a little bit. So in the past 1 year, NIO's return has been 585%. Not bad at all, quite impressive. And then in the recent few months, they have been down about 35% from their peak. However, it should be good to note in just the last week, their stock did pop 15%. And this was primarily driven by their May delivery numbers that were reported. And I believe they reported 6,700 vehicles in May, which was a 95% growth in year over year. So NIO currently sells three models, the ES8, the ES6, and the EC6. In 2019 Q2, they delivered about 3,500 vehicles, then it jumped to 4,800, and then a huge jump in Q4 to 8,200, and then quite a bit of decline here to 3,800, but then they jump right back up to little over 10,000, and then huge growth quarter over quarter after that. 12,000 in Q3, 17,000 in Q4, and a huge jump in the most recent quarter to 20,000 in Q1 21. So other than the three models they're currently selling, they do have a new model they're coming out with, an all new electric sedan. It's called the ET7. Pretty slick. Let's look at a clip here. Not bad at all. I wouldn't mind having one of these. I wonder where they filmed this. Pretty slick exterior. Interior looks nice. I don't know if it's just me, but kinda resembles the Tesla Model S from the exterior. Wow. I would not mind having this car. That's it with NIO, guys. I really like this company. I believe in them big time, and I personally have a big position in this company. Number 3 on our list is GM, or General Motors. GM is the largest automotive manufacturer in the US and actually one of the biggest in the world. And they're headquartered out of Detroit, Michigan. So you guys are really familiar with GM, most likely. Some of their brands are Chevy, Buick, GMC, Cadillac. Let's look at GM's stock chart a little bit. So you can see here, their 1-year return has been 118%. Absolutely impressive. And I imagine a lot of this has to do with the work they're doing and the investments they're making in the EV space. So GM has something they're calling the Ultium platform, which is basically their foundation for all electric vehicles. They're saying that this is going to be their foundation for over 30 electric vehicle models they're going to come out with in the next few years. So EV trucks, EV SUVs, EV crossovers, EV cars, and EV commercial vehicles. Looks like they have 3 models they're showing on their website. So we have the GMC Hummer EV here. Looks pretty slick, and it looks like the first deliveries are going to be in fall 2021. And then they have the Cadillac Lyriq. Pretty slick design. Looks like this one's going to come out a little bit later with the first deliveries in the first half of 2022. And lastly, the Chevy Bolt EUV. Beautiful design, and it looks like this one is gonna come out fairly quick with the first deliveries targeted for summer 2021. That being said, let's go through GM's financials a little bit. So obviously GM is a huge company and it's a huge automotive manufacturer. This is not just a EV company. EV is just a space they're making a huge investment in. So looking at their financials, it looks like in 2018, they had about 147 billion in revenue, 137 in 2019, 122 billion in 2020. So their revenues have been slightly declining year over year in the past couple of years, but hopefully all the good investments they're making in the EV space and how seriously they're taking the world's transition to EVs, hopefully that'll turn things around. I really like GM. I like the stock personally. I have a decent position in GM, not as big as Tesla or NIO, but I do hold a little bit of GM in my portfolio. So number 4 on our list is Ford. Ford is the second largest automaker in the US and the 5th largest in the world. And they're also headquartered in Detroit, Michigan. So Ford basically makes automobiles and commercial vehicles under their flagship brand Ford and also their luxury brand Lincoln. Let's look at their stock chart a little bit. So in the past 1 year, Ford's return has been 143%. And kind of like GM, I imagine a lot of this is because all the good work they're doing in the EV space and all the investments they've been making in EVs. So Ford basically has 2 all-electric vehicles that they've been working on. And the first one is the 2021 Mustang Mach-E. Let's look at some pictures here. Pretty slick design. I would not mind having one of these. And this one is already out. And then their second all-electric is the 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning, which is their all-electric pickup truck. And their first availability is targeted at spring 2022. So I'm very optimistic on their pickup because their Ford F-Series has been the best-selling truck for 44 years. So that they carry that brand. And I think because they carry that brand value and customer loyalty, I think this one's going to do really good. With that being said, let's look at their financials a little bit. So in 2017, they did revenues of about 157 billion. And then 2018, it increased a little bit to 160 billion and then dipped a little bit again down to 155 billion and a little bit of a dip there in 2020 down to 127 billion. So kind of like we said with GM, the general trend has been declining a little bit for Ford in terms of revenue in the past year, but hopefully their 2 new all-electric models that are coming out are going to change things around. So I think Ford's in a really good position and I think they have really good future growth potential. All right, guys, last but not least, number 5 on our list is Blink Charging. So this one is the only one in our video today that is not actually an electric vehicle manufacturer. So Blink Charging is the leading operator of EV charging equipment and network EV charging services. So their main product service is going to be their Blink EV charging network called the Blink Network. These guys basically have thousands of EV chargers deployed all across the US in tons of locations. So anything from airports to car dealers, healthcare medical facilities, hotels, residential spots, parking lots, restaurants, retailers, and then also schools and universities, stadiums, supermarkets. Let's look at their stock chart a little bit. So Blink Charging's 1 year return has been a staggering 1,700%, which is absolutely crazy. So as you can see, around July of 2020, their stock was at about $5 and it's currently trading at $39 a share. So something to note is Blink Charging is kind of not a very big company. So it's not really fair to compare apples to apples to companies like Tesla, NIO, GM, or Ford. It is a lot smaller company. It's a lot newer. Their market cap is only 1.5 billion, which is a lot smaller than the first 4 companies on our list. Let's look at their revenues a little bit. So like we said, Blink Charging is a smaller company. And in 2018, they did about 2.7 million in revenues, then 2.7 million in 2019, and then a huge jump from 2019 to 2020. Looks like they did about 6.2 million in sales. So really impressive how they grew their revenue from 2.7 to 6.2 million from 2019 to 20. And then lastly, in recent news on May 11th, Blink Charging did announce they acquired a European charging operator called Blue Corner based in Belgium. So this company basically has a huge network of 7,000 plus charging ports in Europe. So I saw this and I thought this is definitely a good sign for Blink Charging and their future growth potential. There you have it, guys. Top 5 hottest EV stocks to invest in now. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And don't forget, if you plant your seeds now, you can really grow your wealth over time. See you next time.